Several years back, before I was really doing this YouTube thing full time, I was in the market for a new set of earbuds, and the ones, after reading many reviews and comparing many different earbuds, the ones I came around to were these guys here. These things are called the TicPods, and they were by a company called Mobvoi that I had never heard of before in my life, and I really liked those earbuds. And now I daily drive a Mobvoi TicWatch Pro 3 Ultra, I believe that is the full name, and it's a smartwatch that I have really enjoyed. I was actually surprised that it managed to keep my Fitbit Versa off of my wrist, much to my wife's pleasure, because that's the watch she's been using. But today, I'm going to be taking a look at another device by Mobvoi. This is called the TicWatch GTH Pro, and this is a budget-minded, health-focused smartwatch, and I'm quite interested in this because, for me, I like that this thing is Wear OS. It's running, Android's version of a smartwatch. But honestly, there's a ton of features that I just don't really use. Having access to all these different apps, I don't use any of them. I get my notifications and I check my health-related stats, my sleep, my heart rate, my blood oxygen. And that's kind of what this thing's supposed to be really good at. And it's supposed to be good at that for less than $100. I believe at launch, this thing's going to be 99 United States dollars. So let's take a look here at what we've got here on the back before we get into a full unboxing. So they've got something here called Artie, and Artie is sort of, I guess, like a personification of health. It's like a little health assistant. You see his little face there, happy little heart guy, and it's supposed to offer personalized AI-based heart health insights. So this thing's supposed to actually try to make you healthier over time, which is really interesting. Dual PPG biosensors. I think this thing actually has a sensor on the side of the watch where you're supposed to put your finger on it to track different biological metrics. We're going to get into that as well. Stress tracking, automatic motion recognition. Apparently, it's got a rather stylish design. It looks a bit like an Apple Watch, if you ask me. And that might not be a bad thing to use. Sleep tracking, something I love having. 7 to 10 days of battery life. I mean, look, okay. So the Pro 3 Ultra GPS, great watch. It lasts me about 3 days. My Versa lasts me about 5 days. If this thing gets me 10 days on a charge, holy mackerel, I will be very happy with that. 24/7 heart rate tracking. It is waterproof. Skin temperature tracking. How good is that? If you're someone like me who doesn't have a standard, everyone says 98.6 is standard. Well, that's not the case for me. So when I check my temperature, I need to know what it normally is and what it now isn't. And that's going to be great for tracking that kind of thing in general. If you're, hey, COVID is still a thing, keep track of your temperature, really smart. Watch faces, respiratory rate detection is great to have, and then 14 different workout modes. There's a lot going on here, but I want to know more. So let's open this thing up. Flip that around that way, and you've got the watch straight away inside. And my first thought about this, let's take off my Pro 3 Ultra here, because we're going to be doing some comparisons to that as well. A lot of you guys said, oh man, that watch is enormous, and I want you to keep something very important in mind. I weigh about 145, about 150 pounds. I'm a relatively small person. My wrist is quite small. This watch is big, but it looks enormous on me. This looks to be quite a bit smaller than that, at least in one axis, and the other it's about the same, if not bigger. But it's going to be interesting to see how that actually looks on me. Let's get this foam out of here. It is definitely, I feel like it's a little bit lighter. We'll get the weight of this thing in just a second. Let me make sure there's nothing else interesting to have in here first. Looks like we just got a magnetic charger, which is going to be USB-A, and then of course it is just a little magnetic connector on the other side. So that is simple enough. All right, so let's take a look at the watch here. Let's peel this little sticker off and we get an idea here. Can you see where the bezels are? The bezels are quite large, but that's fine. This looks like just a button. It does not seem to be a dial. It just looks like a button. And there is that dual sensor there on the side that you're actually meant to touch to do some of the readings, as well as, of course, your other sensors there on the inside. Let's get the weight here. So the Pro 3 Ultra, make sure we're actually fully on the scale here, is 68 grams. This one is 49 grams. So yes, that is quite a bit lighter. And let's go ahead and power this thing up. I suppose I can just long press this side button, and I'm hoping, yep, there we go. I am lighting up. Okay, so we have a scan the QR code to download the app situation going on here, but I believe this should just be the Mobvoi app, which I should already have. So I wonder if I just open up the Mobvoi app, if I'm going to be okay here, or if I actually need to scan that QR code. Let's go to device and let's go to add. GTH Pro is already in the app, and I do need to scan that QR code. So let's open up my Duo and let's scan that. And we are pairing. It says this process takes about 10 seconds, and it looks like we are now paired. Okay. We're going through some permissions here on the phone, which we're just going to allow it to do these things. And so this is different, okay? So I have to allow notification access and all these things because this is not running Android Wear. This is not using the Android Wear app. This is using the Mobvoi app. And now you see the GTH Pro down here. So what do we have here as far as an interface goes? Let's swipe down. That looks like that gets us to quick settings, a flashlight, looks like a battery saver mode, a sleeping mode of some kind. Let's go back up. Let's go to the left. We've got weather, which we'll need to adjust because that is in Celsius and I live in these United States. Heart rate, skin temperature, different exercises. This has like basically like a quick breakdown of different metrics. Can I scroll this way as well? Let's go that way. Different workout modes. And this looks like where sleep data would be. And then it cycles back all the way around. Interesting. So swiping down brings up our notifications. Okay, let's go ahead and put this thing on here. Okay, we are now on. Okay, so the button here, if you click it again once you're unlocked, you're going to get sort of a list of your applications. You get a little bit closer there so that you can see that. Music control settings, that's good to have all that stuff. And if you double click it, that's nothing, and a long press will just ask you if you want to power it off. So let's go in here and let's do this RD health thing. So we're going to touch the sensor there, press to begin your reading. So we're supposed to touch that there. Please cover the entire sensor. Reading, please keep still. So I wonder what exactly it is reading that is different, that it needs to use my finger instead of my wrist. We are analyzing. Lightly touch the sensor. So I may have been doing it too hard. So let's do it again. And we're going to lightly touch the sensor. I was squeezing. Okay, and they are not kidding. You got to touch that thing very, very lightly. So now we're going to do it again, and I guess this time it's actually going to count. I guess that was just like a practice run. So we're going to touch very lightly. We're going to try and stay very still. All right, RD score, 78 out of 100. My BPM is 76. ECAP, I'm not sure what that means. There's a lot of metrics here that I don't know what they mean. RD age 20 to 30 years. Well, guess what, buddy? I'm 32, so I guess I'm doing pretty good. What do we got here? Next. You should be exercising at least 150 minutes a week. So it's giving me recommendations here as to ways to improve my heart health. Let's see what these metrics mean here. Okay, so ECAP is your exercise capacity. So I'm not sure how that relates to the number 65%. HSX stands for heart stress index. So I guess my heart stress is quite low. And apparently your heart rate by your finger is apparently more accurate than doing this by the wrist. I had to do this again, and this time my score went up. I guess I was sitting more still. I think my heart rate went down a little bit as well. And of course, all this information here is visible on your Mobvoi app if you want to see it in a much bigger screen, much easier to read there. And while we're on the subject of the Mobvoi app, you'll kind of see what your home screen is going to look like. So here's my RD score and all those metrics right there front and center. That's what they want you to be looking at straight away. Then as we scroll down, we'll see some mental fatigue and energy level. These are things we're all trying to read from whatever it is these sensors are able to do. Your activity level, exercise, which I have not done literally any exercise at all today. I've been in front of this computer all day long. Sleep tracking. This is actually from my other TicWatch, but I imagine it's going to be pretty much the same in the way it shows up. Heart rate, blood oxygen level. There is skin temperature has now shown up, and you can actually see that it's read it a couple of times since I've had the watch on. You can see a very faint line there where it's actually gone down. There's my highest temperature there. This is going to be really good for tracking consistency of your skin's temperature. And then, of course, you can go into your devices here and look at different watch faces. And there aren't, going to be an absolute ton like you have on Wear OS, but there are quite a handful here that you can choose from. Let's see what this one looks like. So we're going to save and apply. It is downloading, synchronizing. Well, this is taking a pretty good amount of time. Let's just see how long this takes. I'll let you see this in real time. If you don't care, skip ahead. If you want to see how long it takes in real time, you'll know. I also want to point out that there's no space between synchronizing and the number. A little touch there that they could probably improve. Well, there's some fit and finish things like that going on that are a little janky. So we actually just lost a percentage point there. It was interesting. We're from 59 to 60, then back to 59 again. We're still synchronizing. Probably not going to be changing watch faces very often. And we are done. And there's your end result. And honestly, it looks pretty good on here. Is it worth that much time? I don't know. That's something you're going to have to decide. There's two ways to wake the thing up. Obviously, pressing the button is one. If we let it go back to sleep, now I will show you the other any second now. If you lift it up, it will wake up as well. Now, strangely enough, if you go into your settings here, this is it in terms of settings. This is literally it. There's almost nothing there at all. If you go into your music controls, again, that's it. Even when something's playing, which it is now, it's functional. It's doing its job, but no volume control. There's really very little going on there. Weather has updated itself to now reflect the correct Fahrenheit instead of Celsius is what I'm trying to say. I also want to point out here that notifications are coming through, but they're formatting kind of oddly. They're showing the time and military time. I can't really read what's going on in them. That is not what the notification actually says. And of course, the only option to deal with them is just to delete it. You can't interact with the notifications at all. And I've got an email on my phone that I have not seen on here. So notifications are a little hit or miss. That might be a problem for me. But here's the thing, as bare bones as this thing seems in some ways, we're coming in under $100. We have no monthly subscription to keep up with, and we have some features that other watches in this price range simply don't have access to. So it's going to come down to what you're after. If you want a fully fledged, proper, maxed out everything kind of smartwatch, this isn't for you. But if you're here to track your health and you don't care about these frills, this might be a good option for you. What I'm going to need to do now is wear this thing for a few days, do some exercise, move around, do some running, and see what we've really got here. Okay, so only a moment has passed for you. 2 full weeks have passed for me in my reality. So I've spent the last 2 weeks wearing the TicWatch GTH Pro, and boy, do I have a lot of thoughts about how that's gone. Some of this has been good. Some of it has been absolutely terrible. So let's talk about the stuff that's been driving me crazy first. So the biggest thing here is Arty, that cool thing where you put your finger on the side of the watch and it scans and it gives you all these cool numbers to track your heart health and all this stuff. Cool stuff, great idea. It just didn't work for the first 2 weeks. It synced my first time doing it and would not sync anymore after that. I disconnected it from my one phone, from my Duo 2. I synced it up to my Z Fold. That didn't fix it. I've reset the watch 42 and a half times. I've reset the app just as many times. I've lost whole days at a time worth of data. I've lost all of my Arty data until yesterday, when I got an email saying, here's a QR code, scan this, download a new version of this app that is not in the Play Store just yet, and that might fix your Arty problem. The software engineers were aware of it, downloaded it, and guess what? Arty is now syncing. I've sunk it 4 times, and it's working fine. So that problem seems to now be addressed. However, there are some other problems when it comes to syncing data from the watch to the phone. So notifications are super duper hit or miss. Text messages, I might get half of them. The other half, I just never get notified of. My phone vibrates, which is great, but my watch does not. So I just miss stuff because I expect to feel it here. I might not feel it on the actual phone because I don't know, maybe it's my brain is just trained to expect it on my wrist. I don't know, but I'm missing stuff. Emails through Outlook, never gotten the first notification. Discord, never gotten the first notification at all. Twitter, pretty much get all of my notifications from Twitter. So it's really weird. It's like a weird per app thing, and there are some settings you can play with, but I've messed with them. There's no way I can see to make this any different. Just really inconsistent and strange. If we jump into the app here, I can show you a little bit more about kind of what my problems have been. So you can see already here, you can see this is being filmed on a Tuesday. And if you go in here, you'll see that all of my tests, multiple tests, 4 of them are now in there. So again, already is fixed. Although you may have just saw something here. Let's see if I can replicate this. If you go into a menu and then you go back out, the text just overlaps on top of stuff. There's lots of weird stuff going on. If you look here, sometimes when it's not connected, it says unconnected. And then whenever you try to connect it, it fails. I think there's a typo where it says connected or something like that. There's lots of weird stuff going on in terms of that. Maybe that stuff can get fixed. Anyways, back to stuff not syncing correctly. So heart rate. Notice how there's nothing there. Well, if I click on this, there's all my heart rate, where it's properly scanning my heart rate 24/7, just like it should be. But for some reason, sometimes resting just isn't there. Like it just doesn't know what to do. And then there's nothing there as well. I've tried changing the fit of the watch, looser, tighter, all that stuff. And that sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Skin temperature has been super consistent. You can see I put the watch back on this morning, and you can actually see whole days there where it has been super duper consistent in terms of constantly scanning my skin temperature, and that's really great. Blood oxygen level is similarly hit or miss though. Sometimes it's super consistent, sometimes there's just 2 points all day. I don't know why it has such a hard time scanning that stuff. When it comes to sleep, it's terrible. This is my Pro 3 Ultra because I wore that yesterday, and this is what my sleep tracking should look like. This is what it looks like when I wear the GTH Pro. It is wildly inaccurate. According to this, I had no REM sleep. I was only awake for these moments. No, that's what my sleep looks like. I'm awake at all different random points of the night. I get a little bit of REM. This is wildly inaccurate. Sleep tracking on this thing right now, maybe there's going to be a software update as well, but it's useless. Another weird thing here too, so it wants to use the 24-hour clock by default. And you have to go here and go into more features, and you have to actually toggle it on and then back off again. And that is what actually, like, you would go in here and you would change the toggle off 24-hour clock, and it wouldn't actually function for me. I had to toggle it back and forth twice in order to get that to take effect, but it did eventually work correctly after that. So if you want to do a workout, you can do it 2 different ways. So you can go just directly on your watch and swipe over until you get to your workout. Then you can scroll through it, pick the kind of workout you're doing, start it, and then stop it, and that's going to track it fine. Another way that you can do it, though, is you can actually go to your device and start a workout here. And the point of doing it here is that this does not have GPS on it, so you're supposed to use the GPS on your watch. Sounds great, right? You should be able to have a map of where you've gone, because on the other watches by Mobvoi, like the Pro 3 Ultra that I normally wear, I can look at my workout and I can see the map of exactly the path I took. Well, I tried that on here. I started the workout on the app. Strangely enough, you can't stop the workout on the app. You have to stop it on your wrist, but I did that, and then I went to my workout and there's no map. It knows the distance, but I reckon it could probably figure that out from steps anyways. It shows my heart rate and all that stuff as I was being tracked. But that's really it. Where's the map? What's the point of starting this in the app if I don't get the map of my workout? By comparison, going to the Pro 3 Ultra, you can see how much more information there is here. The speed, the step frequency, the step length. And I mean, theoretically, I'm not going to scroll down and show you the map because I don't want you guys to be creepy and find out exactly where I live. But you can kind of see what I'm saying. This is completely different because it's able to use the GPS. Why is this all I get on this tracker? Now, I get this is like a third the price of that watch, but you can use the GPS on my phone, so I should be able to get a lot of these metrics here, but I don't. So at this point, you're probably asking yourself, you said there was some good with this, and all you've done so far is dump on the thing. Well, there are some good things. So first off, it's super lightweight, and it is super comfortable. You will forget you have the thing on. It's low profile, and it's small. It's super comfortable. So that's a great thing. Most of the watches and the one that I wear normally, this guy is absolutely massive, and it's not super comfortable, and it's not super easy to sleep in. I've kind of gotten used to it, but it's definitely there, and if you sleep with your arms up near your face, that might be a problem. So that's definitely a good positive thing there. The other thing is the battery life. It's unbelievable. When they say 7 to 10 days, they're not kidding. You can wear this thing for almost 2 weeks without having to charge it. That is absolutely true. You can forget this thing's on for a really long time. A lot of the tracking is pretty good. Now, like I said, I've had times where there's weird gaps where things don't work correctly, but I would say most of the time and most of these metrics, they are really, really consistent. And I do have gaps even with this guy and with my Fitbit Versa, very rarely, but occasionally I would have little gaps where maybe the fit wasn't quite right, it was wiggling around, it wasn't tight enough, and I would lose some data that way. This thing might lose a little bit more than those do, but a lot of the stuff is really good, and skin temperature is super consistent, and most of these things, even when they don't show them, the actual numbers, they're on the front screen of the app. If you drill in, you do have those metrics there. So, I mean, all in all, you're looking at a device that's less than $100. The health tracking stuff is now working pretty well. If you're looking for something to get notifications on, this ain't it. The notifications are terrible. For music control, you can do it, but it's really, really basic. And what's awkward about it is there's no quick way to get into music control. In order to do it, you have to literally go into your apps, scroll down, which scrolling is a little awkward. It's not very smooth. Go to music control, and then that's just it. It's a play pause. That's all you get. There's no volume. There's nothing further than that. So if that's something that you're interested in, not going to be a good option for that. But again, you know, if you're not interested in that, if all you want is a health tracker, something to track your steps and things like that, it's going to do that stuff just fine. If you want something that's lightweight to wear while you work out, to track your skin temperature, your heart rate, your blood oxygen level, again, it's going to be great for stuff like that. And if you're into already getting to track all these different metrics and things like that, you're going to be good there too. So you have to be that kind of person that can spare all of these extra features. And I don't want to tell you to buy something for what might happen, but software updates might come. Look into this before you buy it. You know, if you're watching this review 3 months from release, check and see if those updates have come, see what's going on. These things might be tightened up because I've seen pre-release some pretty major things get fixed. So a big thanks to Mobvoi for sending the GTH Pro over. As usual, they are seeing the review the same time you are. I accept no payment and no early copy has been given. These are my real opinions, even though they did send me the watch. Thanks for making it to the end of this very long, very in-depth unboxing and review of the GTH Pro. If you want to buy the thing, there should be a link in the description down below. That was probably going to be an affiliate link. Great way to help support the channel if you want to do that as well. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.